Well, thank you for joining us today. We are really excited to have you here because we want to know, are you feeling burnt out from this past year? Because if you are, you are definitely not alone. We are joined today by Brandy Taylor and Nicole Sims from our team, both of whom are parents, and they really understand this feeling. So Brandy Taylor is our training manager, and she has a son that's a rising fourth grader and a daughter in her 20s. And Nicole is our parent lead, and she has a daughter that's a rising ninth grader, a daughter in her 20s as well, and a granddaughter that's a rising fifth grader. So today, while they're chatting with you and talking, I am going to be dropping links and other resources in the chat, so you'll be able to access those. And then we'll do some wrap up at the end and some conversations at the end. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And thank you for introducing me, Amy. My name is Brandy Taylor, like she said, and I'm the training manager with A Plus Schools. And today, in our brief presentation, we just want to we want to emphasize that we know that you're burned out, and if you're anything like myself, from time to time, you're frustrated with trying to piece everything together. For the last year, at least, at home learning and technology has been the main struggle. But now that school is coming to an end, summer activities are probably what's on your mind. So how do you manage staying engaged in an effort to make the best decision for your children? So today we have three very simple tips. Some of them you may have already heard of or know or what have you, but like I said, we just want to let our parent audience know that we understand that you're burned out. And if there's any way that we can offer tips from time to time, we will do so. So those, we want to help you stay encouraged and we want to help you stay engaged. The three tips are dig in, join in, and read up. Really simple. Digging in is spending time on your child's school website, doing a little search for parent portals and different platforms. That's very helpful. Even stopping by the main office. And I know some may question if they have the ability to stop into the school's office during the summertime. Most of the schools are operable. And since we're just coming out of COVID, there may be some different times, change in times. So especially now that they're doing the summer school programs in different places, you could just give a call and see what their operating hours are. But I'm more than sure that you'll have an opportunity to go in through the summer and see what information you can find there, pamphlets and things of that nature. And at the very least, make sure your child's school has your updated contact information. We often may change our cell phone numbers or have to get another cell phone because they break. You want to continue to update your emergency contact information of who can pick your child up if it's not with you. And additionally, if you move, just making sure that they have the ability to contact you and share information as well. So then, of course, you want to check out the report to the community on our A Plus Schools website. You can find school profiles for each public school in the district, and it also includes a few of the charter schools and their profiles as well. So make it a habit to dig in and check in. And then the join in tip, the joining in is just once you've identified those several platforms or the parent portals that I mentioned that provide updates, be sure to join in the conversation. Don't just go in and check it out, but actually have some input in those different portals on the different things that you may have experienced, or just giving them a good shout out and things of that nature, because your voice is very critical. And I think some of you may already know that the squeaky wheel gets oiled. So be sure to join in. Your voice is critical. Attending your school's PTO, PTA, or even the PSTC meetings will provide an opportunity to share your voice as well, beyond sharing your voice on those different platforms. So back to school nights and orientation events. Getting to know your child's teacher in the beginning of the school year is what makes a great start. I believe in building relationships. And so if you build that relationship with the teacher from the beginning, it makes it a little easier to receive a call throughout the year. if they need to call you in reference to behavior issues, and even if they don't, it's just great to have that one-on-one relationship with the teacher who is going to handle your child throughout the year. Attending school games, concerts, and award events that your child is involved will also help you stay engaged. So, I, in the past, have not been a parent who is focused on attending things like sports activities because I just don't like them. But this year, I am going to focus on being intentional in doing that. Like Amy mentioned, I have a rising fourth grader. He's my son, and I intend to enroll him in basketball. So I will be the one parent there at all the games, volunteering and everything, and hoping that I can, make connection with other parents, and that's just another way that you can definitely stay engaged. And then again, I have to mention A Plus and our support. A Plus Parent Hotline is another resource, or the family hotline. Some may know it by, to call in with your concerns or even ask questions for assistance with additional resources. We have a lot of people that we are in connection with that provide the various resources that some may not be aware of. So if you call that hotline, we'll be sure to direct you into the right place. Again, at the very least, parent teacher conference. Stay informed about your child's progress. I mentioned that it's great to build that rapport at the beginning. I'm big on relationship building, and so the parent teacher conference is a very good piece to attend to strengthen that relationship you build at the beginning. Finally, read up. The third of the three tips. Your child's school may or have a monthly or a quarterly, weekly newsletter update. That's a great way to stay in touch as well. Reading up with the physical pieces, and maybe some of the newsletters are online as well. But great way to stay in the know. Most schools have updated their Facebooks and websites and assisting keeping parents updated in their academics and additional resources. So I know for us at the school that my son attends, there's this Power School that keeps a year to year, I guess, update of the grades that your child has, in addition, the attendance and things of that nature. And I don't go on there often, but I have. I've probably gone on about 3-4 times in the last year to see where he was. And sometimes I may lose track. So I think that's a really great resource in reading up and seeing where your child is. So I was getting ready to make one more mention, but I will just reiterate that the three tips are to dig in, join in, and read up. We just want to make sure that all of our parents that we oftentimes have touch bases with, that they stay encouraged, that we do understand we hear these different things on our parent and family hotlines. And so we just want to make sure that we come back to you with different tips. Nicole, did you want to offer anything that I know you may have experienced? I think you're on mute.
I guess you would think we got the Zoom thing down pat right by now. Hopefully we'll be off of it by the time I get it together. But welcome everyone. Thanks for taking time out to join us for a few minutes regarding this like really important topic. So I just wanted to add a couple of like my own points. Those are some good points that Brandy brought out. And for all of you ladies, if you're anything like me, you're sort of like, well, why do I really need to be completely engaged in my child's going to school? Because they're going to learn regardless. But I wanted to point out that all of the data and studies really highlight the point that children perform better in school when we as parents and guardians are involved in their schoolwork and their school community, at least to some degree. So Brandy talked about how we're all kind of like stressed out. We're just glad that the school year ended. We don't really want to be thinking about the next one, but we're doing this because it's really important, right, to kind of keep engaged over the summer as well. So it's been helpful for me to know that because I engage when it's convenient for me and for my children, that my children's outcomes are going to be better as it relates to their schoolwork, their behavior, their social functioning, and their mental health. So being engaged like just a little bit even helps. So next comes the whole, like, to some degree, right? What does that even look like? And it functions in different ways, like Brandy mentioned already. And so I just wanted to share a few things that have really helped me. One has been, Brandy talked about keeping the line of communication open with teachers. And I always say too, right? Ask your child even if there's anything that they want you to talk with the teacher about. You'd be surprised how that helps. And then make a list of what those things are when you talk to the teacher, whether you do that in person or electronically. Doing that at the beginning of the year is really helpful in building those relationships and really goes a long way. Another tip, parent groups. So the main one I'm going to say is our A+ Schools Parent Nation, which I'm the parent lead on. So please be sure to just stay on top of our like Facebook and any emails and things like that that come from me, because that's a great way to support your child as well. It can feel like a huge obligation, but remember, I always say, you know, in parent groups, that helps me figure out how to basically, when I meet with teachers and things like that, tell them what I can do and not what I can't do. So I get some tips and stuff from parent groups. Even if your availability is limited, you can still keep in the know, like Brandy mentioned, with like updates and emails and things like that. Being a part of the PTO, I'd like to dispel some myths that it's not like all time consuming and you don't have to do everything. It just helps you to have a better experience when you're part of the PTO, and it usually your input is valued. Some people think, well, I'm going to go and what I'm going to say isn't going to have any real bearing, but it actually does. So please be part of your child's PTO and participate as much or as little as you like, right? And then another tip, well, I would just say like the summer camp and enrichment piece. So a lot of us know what our children are doing already for summer, but some of us don't. Like some people are relying on the PPS program that doesn't have a lot of capacity. And so that's an example of another way to relieve stress is before the summer begins, already know what you want to do with your children, and then be connected with organizations like A+ Schools that is going to have like a running tab and a running list of sort of which organizations are doing what within the community. Even recently, we've been sharing lists of like who actively has open spots in their programs. I know Shay's here. I reached out to Shay like, hey, I found, you know, another program. So just stay connected. And that way you don't have to know everything, but when you are part of parent groups and organizations like ours, we can help kind of steer those things also. So speaking of kind of those summer programs, can I see a show of hands for parents who feel like they have to be really specific with regard to time spent? So you feel like your children are either learning or they're having fun, but they're not doing both simultaneously. Does anybody else feel like that?
And you can use the reaction thing in Zoom too, if that helps you.
Yeah, or raise your hand or
raise your hand on camera. Yep, right.
Anybody? Shay's kind of, okay. So, and Jamie's saying, yeah. So I just wanted to stress, because I don't think we can do it enough, that it helps me to stay engaged and calm when I realize that our children are constantly learning, right? And we have to make learning look fun, even though, I mean, we have to allow them to have fun, but we incorporate learning also to make it look really fun. And I just thought of a quick example in that. My daughter was asking if she'd be allowed to like walk to the store now. We live on the north side, and she's like, can I walk the Rite Aid? And I was like, well, we could do this. And I was trying to explain to her like how to cross the street. And she was like, I don't know how. Like, I don't know how to cross the street. And it's a really busy like Brighton Road and you know, Brighton and Davis. And so just walking with her and like just doing that, taking a simple walk, I think we were walking our dog, was a learning experience, but it was fun. And we kind of laughed because it's like, who doesn't know how to cross the street? But that's just the way, one of the things that I wanted to bring out was an example of what I thought about how we as parents make learning look really fun. And so how about you, as parents? Do you have a way that you want to share that you try to stay engaged, or how you make learning look fun? And I know I have Tamara Jacobs here. She's a teacher. So I thought maybe if she even has any ideas of, some tips that she could share with parents, that would be helpful too. So yeah, if you have any tips you want to share about how you stay engaged and make like learning look fun for your students, and keep you from stressing out, and then also if you have ways um, that you want to share with us.
Okay, so hi, my name is Tamara. Although I'm not a teacher in your district, I actually live in Georgia. Um, I like how you were talking about just walking your daughter to the store. There are some things that you could do doing that. Count the houses, using math every day. Count how many houses there were on the way. How many were red? How many were brick? How many were aluminum? And how many, make a fraction out of that. So we seen 10 houses and 3 of them were brick and 7 of them were aluminum. What would be the fraction for that? So just making learning fun, playing games, um, so that we can use math every day, measuring while you're cooking, um, playing games that require taking score and having your child keep score and adding those scores up, things like that. We cannot forget about our social emotional development, where we can have kids do good deeds, volunteering, helping the neighbors, um, things like that, which can help their social emotional development. Reading every day. We got to keep that reading going every day over the summer so they don't lose any ground with reading and math. So those are some things that you can do over the summer. I like when you talked about parent engagement and keeping in contact with parents, because teamwork makes the dream work. So the way I keep in contact with parents is through newsletters, the Remind app, and just giving them a quick text for that day about something about their child. And, even if they had a good day, bad day, whatever it is. So just keeping them in the know about what their child is doing in school and what we're learning with our newsletter. So that keeps them engaged in knowing what we're doing. I'll take a picture of the vocabulary list that we got for that week and send it in the Remind app to everybody so they have that list in case their child forgot it in their book bag, didn't give it to them, or whatever it is. Picture of the homework. This is what we had, so they can look for those things. So the communication is definitely key. Um, for students' success in school. So that piece is definitely important. But those are just some little things to do to make learning fun and keeping them engaged over the summer.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those, Tamara. Those were really helpful, and I like that you shared those too, because I know Brandy will like this. She's a relationship person, like guru, and in
Mhm.
order for you to be able to send those words out and do those reminders, you have to have that relationship with the parent first.
Absolutely.
So it makes it less stressful for us as parents if we build that at the beginning and then kind of keep it going through the year. So thank you for that. Shay, did you have something you wanted to share also?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what Reddy said, because sometimes when I work in early childhood, and I get parents that call all the time, and they're like, what does my child have to know before they come to school? And I'm like, they don't have to know anything. But here's what you can do at home. And I always
Mhm.
explain to them that they don't have to sit down with a piece of paper for 30 minutes with their child and make them learn something. Learning is literally in your everyday life. If you guys are walking down the street, point to a letter on the building, practice the letters on the colors on the stoplights. Um, like there's just so many different things that we do. What is it? My daughter. So when we're going somewhere in the car, she's like, are we going to so and so's house? And I noticed that the kids started doing that. So what I say is give me directions. What do you see that you know that we're going to so-and-so's house? So that helps them identify landmarks and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you give me directions. Are we going left or right? And that was a way to also help my 4-year-old, well, she's 5 now, to help her learn her left and right. One of the things we were doing was like this, like when you hold your left hand up, it makes an L, so you know it's, you know, your left hand. So that, you know, having them point to the left and right helps with their directional, learning their directions when they're smaller. But I know like last summer for us, I kind of was okay, even though it was a pandemic, I was kind of okay with my kids not engaging in any learning because I felt like they needed a break. But Nicole, back to your daughter crossing the street. The kids went to their grandma's house and they were able to play outside, and they did a lot more independent stuff that more than they've ever done before, learning across the street. Because we're in the car all the time, they had the opportunity to walk the neighborhood a lot more. So they definitely learned how to get around the neighborhood last summer independently. But the camp that they're going to this summer, I do appreciate that they are not just doing fun things. They do have some learning incorporated into their activities, but they're not just calling it math. She just has some activities, but they don't know they're learning, but they are learning. So, but that goes back to your question of like, when they're doing something during the summer, does it have to have learning? Not necessarily, but if it's incorporated, I'm totally okay with that. I feel like I remembered a little bit, but
No, those are some of the things that we wanted to share. And I think to get back to Brandy's original point before she chimes back in, it seems like it's really like these seem simple, but I feel like they're ways to help us alleviate stress because they're reminders that our kids are learning anyway. They're gonna catch up. Don't stress out. Do some of the things we talked about on the front end to like help be ready for next school year also, but those are really helpful. So thank you.
So I want to, I was taking notes, I'm sorry. I wanted to mention a couple of things. One was the fact that you're being creative is what it takes. So you need to be creative as a teacher to try to incorporate things. You need to be creative as a parent. So when you're doing those outside activities or what have you, you got to make sure that it's age appropriate. So where she was talking about fractions, that may not be something that you will use with your child, but it does take a level of creativity. And like Siobhan said, learning is in everyday life, right? But you have to be intentional on what parts you're going to incorporate to teach your children, right? You do have to be creative and intentional on making sure you do that, so it won't seem like it's like this two-part thing. So I did two things, and they kind of just came up sporadically. When my son and I were taking walks, we would identify around our complex, we would identify the make and model of the cars. And so he kind of learned those different things. He learned that there was a difference in the make and the model. And that was just something, it's not really like a actual formal way of education, but it's just something that you could keep in your toolbox later in life. And then we are big Marvel fans. So we know the lineage of all of the superheroes. And so one of the things we do often is debate. I am trying to get him in the habit of speaking facts and debating his standpoint, right? What it is that he believes in. So I think the last thing in regards to the Marvel, we debated on who he supported more. Magneto, and this is the X-Men. We know them all. This is a little bit off. X-Men and Magneto and Professor X. Like, so why do you support them? You know, what is it that you like about them, and why do you think either was the best leader? So, I just wanted to give those few examples of learning outside of the box.
Thank you, everyone, so much. So I know we're getting close on the end of our time together, but we just want to stress. So I'm going to drop in the chat. There we go. Sorry, some of the A+ links in social media. So this is mine, Brandy's, and Nicole's contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Like Nicole was sharing, and I'm about to drop this in the chat too. So we are a small organization, but we are connected to a lot of really great organizations. So if we don't have the answer, we know great people that we can get answers from really, really quickly. And so you can call into the family hotline, you can email us directly, but this is our website. And if you go into that website too, you'll see all of the other partners that work with us through the Pittsburgh Learning Collaborative. And so there's 80 plus organizations there. So there's a lot that we can help families get connected with through, not just for summer, but throughout the school year. So if you're looking for support or help or information, don't hesitate to reach out. This is our, I'm going to drop all of our social media links into the website, and we encourage you to follow us there because we have a lot that we post and share from all of those partners, or just post to keep up with. Just a couple days ago, we actually posted about the programs that still had space for middle and high school students. So we summer programs. So we know that a lot of families were looking for that. So if you follow us on Facebook and some of our other social media sites, you can stay up to date with all of that. And then also in a moment, I'm going to drop in the chat we have a survey for today. So if you fill out that survey, it just takes a few minutes. I think it's like 5 questions. If you fill that out, you'll get entered into a raffle for a gift card. So if you fill that out by next week, I'll reach out to you and let you know if you're the winner or not. So we thank everyone for your time today. The YouTube page, sorry, too, that I'm about to drop in the chat, that has videos from all of our past trainings that we've done. So that's a really great resource too, if you want to just loop back and see what other tips and information we've shared. So, but thank you all for your time today. I'm going to stop the recording, but if anyone had any follow-up questions too, we can stay on the line. So thanks, everyone.